Am I the a-hole for refusing to share my lottery winnings with my boyfriend's dog, even though I promised? Plus update. So I, 26 female, won a decent amount in the lottery, about $50,000. Before I won, my boyfriend, 29 male, and I would always joke about how, if I ever hit it big, I'd split it 3 ways, between me, him, and his dog Baxter. Baxter is a golden retriever, and I love him, but I always thought it was, just a joke. Well, fast forward to me actually winning, and my boyfriend is now dead serious about wanting me to give Baxter's share of the money. He insists I promised, and that Baxter deserves $10,000 in a dog trust fund for future vet bills, toys, and whatever he needs. I told him that's ridiculous. Baxter is a dog and doesn't need a trust fund. Now, my boyfriend is calling me selfish and saying I went back on my word. He says it's not about the dog, it's about me not keeping promises, and that it shows I don't take our relationship seriously. But seriously? Over a dog? Here's where it gets weird. I actually did buy Baxter a pretty fancy dog bed and some expensive treats with part of the winnings. But my boyfriend is saying that doesn't count, because it wasn't part of the official $10,000 I supposedly promised. He even brought up going to a lawyer to set up the dog trust fund to make it official. I feel like I'm in a twilight zone. Am I the a-hole for not giving a literal dog a chunk of my lottery winnings, even though I might have jokingly promised? Or is this whole thing just absurd? Now for the top comments before reading the update. Your mistake was telling your boyfriend that you'd won. Honestly, I thought sharing the good news would be a fun moment for us. But now it feels like I unleashed a whole can of worms. If I had kept it to myself, maybe I wouldn't be dealing with this wild situation. It makes me wonder if I can ever trust him with big news again. Have any of you ever had a weird experience like this one? Not a-hole. How long have you been with this guy? This is so odd. It also just thinks of him being money-grabbing. Dave Ramsey always says money doesn't change people. It just highlights who they really are. And I think that's true. What will he be like in future? Huge red flag. We've been together for 2 years and honestly, I've never seen this side of him before. It's like the second I won, he flipped a switch. And now he's acting like I owe his dog this huge payout. I mean, it's not his money, so why is he acting like this is normal? And yeah, I can't help but wonder if he's already this weird about Baxter. What happens if we start talking about our future finances? Do I need to set up a rainy day fund for his goldfish too? I would not give anything to this a-hole after that stupid manipulation he tried to pull to get more money from you. Girl, tell him and his dog to pound sand. I beg of you. Right? It's wild to me that he thinks this is normal behavior. I never expected to be in a relationship where I'd have to defend myself against a dog trust fund. Honestly, I'm so angry right now and seriously thinking about breaking up with him. I love Baxter, but I didn't sign up to be a doggy bank. Yeah, money can do funny things to people. Keep all the money to yourself and dump this a-hat. Not a-hole. For sure, I'm so disgusted. Might break up. Thought about this a while ago, but I think I'm going to make it a reality tomorrow or maybe today. Sad, but gotta focus on the better things in life. You realize he just wants to take 2/3 of your lottery winnings, right? No chance that money is staying for the dog long term. Now for the update. So after thinking it over, I finally confronted my boyfriend about this whole absurd situation with the dog trust fund. I told him straight up that while I love Baxter, giving $10,000 to a dog is beyond ridiculous. And I can't believe it's turned into such a major issue in our relationship. His reaction? He doubled down. He kept going on about how it's not about the money, even though it's clearly all about the money, and that this is really about trust, and me not keeping promises. He even said that if I can't keep this promise, again about the dog, how can he trust me to keep my word on bigger things? At that point, I just couldn't take it anymore. I told him that this whole situation has raised huge red flags, and after 2 years together, I can't believe he's acting like this. I told him flat out that we're ending our relationship because his priorities seem completely out of whack. If he's this unreasonable over something so absurd, I can't imagine dealing with more serious issues down the road. Instead of reflecting on what I said, he got defensive and accused me of breaking trust. I'm honestly floored by how this has spiraled, but I feel like this breakup was inevitable with how he's been acting. Am I the a-hole for ending a 2-year relationship over a dog trust fund, or is this as insane as it feels? Please tell me you didn't give him any of your winnings. No, I didn't give him any money. I love Baxter, but the whole idea of a dog trust fund is just too much for me. I think it's important to keep the focus on what this really says about our relationship, which is why I'm considering ending things. Just wanted to clarify since so many are asking. If he's prioritizing a dog trust fund over your relationship, that's a pretty massive red flag. Breaking up over this just shows you're not willing to waste time on someone whose values are so off. Trust your instincts. This isn't just about the dog, not the a-hole. This isn't about the dog at all. He isn't prioritizing a dog trust fund. He's prioritizing getting 2/3 of her winnings, because this is about money and control. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my husband that he absolutely ruined the birth of our child? Hi everyone. Our daughter is now 8 weeks old. So obviously, this whole argument has gone on a very, very long time. We both have been holding grudges and neither of us think that we are wrong. So when I got pregnant with my daughter, my husband started in immediately telling me that I should have a home birth. I really do not know why he was so adamant on it, but he was. At first, I brushed him off and told him I would think about it, because I was only 6 weeks pregnant and the birth seemed so far off. Of course, it came quickly and my husband would literally speak over me at doctor's appointments when my doctor would ask if I had a birth plan. This caused a few arguments between us in those 39 weeks of pregnancy, but I never really changed my mind. Eventually, my husband's mother sat down and talked to me, and she told me all of the reasons why they did not want me to go to a hospital for the birth. I expressed my concerns about, safety of the baby and myself, but just like my husband, she brushed me off. I ended up telling my husband that I would take myself to the hospital when it was time, and that I did not want a home birth. He acted as if he didn't hear me. We met with a doula who was also very pushy. I felt overwhelmed and not supported at all. I was 36 weeks at that point. So when I went into labor, I was 39 weeks, I absolutely begged my husband to take me to the hospital where my doctor is. He wouldn't. He spoke to me condescendingly and called a doula instead. I was in labor for about 3 days, active labor for around the last 22 hours. I cried whole time. I just felt something was wrong. I was scared and oftentimes they left me alone. The doula told me that if active pushing in labor reached 24 hours, I had to go into the hospital. I remember thinking that I could not decide which was worse, staying in labor for another 2 hours or having my baby right there. When she was finally out, I don't even remember wanting to hold her. I just remember crying out of relief. Obviously, I am okay now, but I did not have a good experience. In my first appointment after birth with my doctor, she was very shocked I had the baby. She was concerned. I was so upset. I told my husband that he absolutely ruined it for me. I truly never want to go through that again. I hear mothers say that they forget all the pain the second they have the baby, but I didn't. I love my daughter so much, but it was horrible, and it was entirely his fault. So I told him that, several times. He rolls his eyes every time and tells me how mothers are strong, and how I am not trying to be strong. I told him that if we ever have another baby, which he wants, that I will never do a home birth ever again. His response is, we'll see. I cannot possibly be the a-hole here, can I? Everyone around me is acting like this is so normal, but it's not, is it? Info. Where are you? Where I am, the doctors would have told anyone speaking over the pregnant women to stop, and that their views actually mean very little. Southern US. I'm from Texas. I had a midwife birth. I know lots of midwives and home birthers. Your experience is not normal. A criminal act has been perpetrated against you. In my opinion, you and your child are still in mortal danger. This man and his family are a clear danger to you and your child. Call the police. Report everyone. Take the baby and leave. This right here, OP. This is outright abuse of you at a very vulnerable time for you. not the a-hole, and do not have another child with this man. Please leave him now, before he raises your child this way and only his way. Your wishes will never be respected because this man and his mother do not respect you. Please, Hopi, put you and your daughter first. If this is true, take the baby and freaking run. Yep, not a good situation for her and the baby. Totally ignoring her wishes and what's best for her health. Also, this is just a start, especially when it comes to the baby. He and his family will think they know better than health professionals. Next story. Am I the a-hole for kicking my sister out after she stole my engagement ring? So I, 28 female, recently got engaged, and my fiance proposed with a family heirloom ring that means the world to me. My sister, 25 female, has always been a bit of a troublemaker, and she has a history of borrowing, stealing my stuff without asking. I've confronted her about it before, but she always brushes it off. A few days ago, I noticed my ring was missing. I searched everywhere and eventually confronted my sister. She admitted she took it to try it on and lost track of it. I was furious because it's not just any ring, it's a piece of a family history. After a few hours of searching, she finally found it in her purse, but she'd scratched it pretty badly and didn't think it was a big deal. I was so upset that I told her she needed to leave my house and find somewhere else to stay for a while. My parents are now saying I overreacted and that I should forgive her since she's family. I feel justified in my anger, but I'm starting to wonder if I took it too far. Am I the a-hole for kicking her out? Now for the comments. Tell your parents that because she is family, you will not be reporting her for attempted theft, and they can provide her with a place to stay. They know she has a history of stealing. Protect herself by keeping you out of your home. You deserve a space where you can feel secured and respected. Standing firm on your boundaries is crucial, especially with family. Agreed. It is apparent that you value that ring, and even if you didn't, she shouldn't be taking anything from you or borrowing it. Not a-hole. LMAO, stealing an engagement ring from you sounds like a super good reason not to let her stay with you. In my opinion, your parents are weird for not treating that like a big deal. I would probably cut my sibling off for a while if they took something of value like that from me. Not to mention, if you'd lost that forever, it would have marred that engagement memory for all time. Like you would think about where that ring went for the rest of your life. That's unhinged that your blood is okay with putting you through that. Not a-hole. The parents' reaction explains why somebody in their 20s thinks it is okay to take other people's belongings. For real, hard to grasp the gravity of your actions when the first and foremost authority figures in your life are excusing your screw-ups. Who knows with this chick, but I feel sorry for anyone in this situation. It's not always easy to be a good person, especially when you see an easy way out by putting yourself first. Having little or no help navigating how to deal with those demons and how to value the people around you is a rough draw of the cards. Last story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to pay for my son's wedding after discovering he's excluding his stepbrother from the guest list? I, 52 male, have 2 sons. Alex, 28 male, my biological son from my first marriage, and Jake, 26 male, my stepson from my wife's previous relationship. I married my current wife, 48 female, when the boys were teenagers. We blended our families the best we could, but Alex and Jake never really bonded. They were civil, but there was always tension, mostly from Alex, who felt like I was replacing him when I remarried. Over the years, I've tried to treat them equally. I paid for both of their college tuitions, helped them with their first cars, and supported them in their endeavors. I've always seen Jake as my own son, and my wife has done the same with Alex. We've done everything possible to blend our family, even though we knew the boys would never be best friends. Fast forward to now, Alex is engaged and planning a big wedding. He asked me months ago if I could contribute financially, and I happily agreed, setting aside a significant amount of money to cover most of the costs. We've been having regular planning meetings, and everything seemed to be going smoothly until last week when I noticed Jake's name was missing from the guest list. When I asked Alex about it, he shrugged and said, "I just don't want him there." I was shocked and asked for an explanation, but Alex wouldn't give me one. He simply said it was his wedding, and he didn't feel obligated to invite anyone he didn't want there. I told Alex that Jake is part of the family and that not inviting him would create unnecessary drama. Alex was adamant, saying they were never close and he didn't want to fake it on his big day. He said he'd rather have a smaller, more intimate event without any awkwardness, and I could either accept it or not. I told Alex that I wasn't comfortable funding a wedding where one of my sons was deliberately excluded without any clear reason. He got defensive and said it wasn't fair for me to hold the money over his head as a form of control. He accused me of never putting him first and always favoring Jake, which I found completely unfair, considering everything I've done for him. My wife is devastated. She feels like this is Alex's way of punishing us for marrying and blending our families. Jake, on the other hand, is trying to stay out of it, but I can tell he's hurt. He's acting like it doesn't bother him, but I know it does. He's never caused any problems and has always been respectful of Alex's space. Alex's fiancée called me and tried to mediate, saying that weddings are stressful and that Alex is just feeling overwhelmed. She begged me not to pull the funding, as they've already booked venues and vendors with the expectation of my support. She said she understood how I felt, but also reminded me that this was Alex's day, not a family reunion. Now Alex is barely speaking to me, and my extended family is split. Some think I'm justified for standing up for Jake, while others think I'm overstepping and should just let Alex have this day the way he wants it. I'm torn. I don't want to damage my relationship with Alex, but I also feel like this is a slap in the face to Jake and our entire family. Am I the a-hole for refusing to pay for the wedding if Alex insists on excluding his stepbrother? Is your wife being excluded as well? As important as this is sadly a relationship-ending decision by OP. This will be even worse if he pays for Jake's wedding. I think he shouldn't pay for either wedding, to be honest. What I find extremely interesting is that, in the post, Jake is painted as the good one and Alex as the problematic one somehow. Maybe it's not intended as that, but it says it came off. Of course not. Even if OP's wife is a good stepmom, OP's stepson has a father and gained another. OP's son still needed a dad who prioritizes him the way stepmom prioritized her own son. I'm divorced and remarried, and too often us parents forget our kids go through stress in a divorce. Only they have no say over how it's all handled. They don't fall in love with a new spouse and get excited about growing a family. They're just expected to be excited and go along with it. It sounds like there may be a history of OP not recognizing and respecting his son had feelings that differed from his own. So his son wants one day where it's about him. Sounds like stepmom was invited, just not stepbro. So perhaps stepbro was responsible for more of the not getting along than OP knows or wants to admit. Instead of asking or understanding that he gave an ultimatum, I wonder if stepbrother would invite OP's son, and if his wife would be okay with pooling contributions to her own son's wedding. Another thought, I'm wondering what Alex got out of his blended family. Jake got his college education paid for, his mother didn't bother apparently, and Alex got blamed for feeling pushed out. I was wondering the same. Alex had to share everything as a teenager onwards. What did he get in return? Jake, however, got a heck of a lot from OP. Especially as they met as teens, he didn't raise Jake from a baby. And no talk of Jake's father. Did OP overcompensate, which is why Alex always felt second best? Possibly.